The Project Gutenberg ebook of Alias Santa Claus. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. Title: Alias Santa Claus, a play for Christmas. Author: Percival Wilde. Release date: January 21, 2024. Ebook number 72774. Language: English. Original publication: New York, D. Appleton and Company, 1927. Credits: Bob Taylor, Charlene Taylor, Tim Lindell, and the online distributed proofreading team at https://www.pgdp.net. This book was produced from images made available by the Hathitrust Digital Library. Start of the Project Gutenberg ebook. Alias Santa Claus. Alias Santa Claus by Percival Wilde. Collected plays: Don and other one-act plays of life today. Don the noble lord, the traitor, a house of cards, playing with fire, the finger of God, a question of morality, and other plays, a question of morality. Confessional, the villain in the piece according to Darwin, the beautiful story, the unseen host, and other war plays, the unseen host, mothers of men, pawns in the ravine, Valkyrie. 8 comedies for little theaters. The sequel, The Previous Engagement, The Dyspeptic Ogre in the Net, A Wonderful Woman, Catesby, His Return, Embryo, The Inn of Discontent, and other fantastic plays. The Inn of Discontent, Lady of Dreams, The Luck Piece, Ashes of Romance, Nocturne. Children's plays: The Toy Shop Reverie, The Enchanted Christmas Tree, Kings in Nomania. Criticism: the craftsmanship of the one-act play. Alias Santa Claus, a play for children by Percival Wilde, author of Kings in Nomania, The Enchanted Christmas Tree, etc. D. Appleton and Company, New York, 1927, London. Copyright, 1927, by D. Appleton and Company. All rights reserved. This play is fully protected in all countries by the copyright law, all requirements of which have been complied with. No performance, professional or amateur, no public reading, nor any radio broadcast, may be given without permission of the publisher, D. Appleton and Company, 35 West 32nd Street, New York, Oregon. D. Appleton and Company, 34 Bedford Street, Covent Garden, London, England. Copyright, 1926. By the Pictorial Review, co-printed in the United States of America. Alias Santa Claus. Characters: David Millman, Junior Halligan, Vicky, David Millman, Sister Bill, Juvenile Delinquents, Slim, Bessie. Uninvited guests: Pete, Maggie, Theodore, Annie, Grover, Woodrow, Calvin. Alias Santa Claus. It is Christmas Day in the Millman home, and the large room upon which our curtain rises is appropriately adorned for the occasion. The lighting fixtures are gaily festooned. A holly wreath hangs at the big window at the back, more wreaths hang from the doors at either side. There is a wealth of hothouse flowers. Near the center is a very large and magnificently trimmed Christmas tree, a tree so splendid that you gasp when you see it. It is surrounded by a small ocean of gifts, enough to stock a fair-sized store. A gorgeous bicycle has a place of honor. It is hemmed in by a whole library of books, a pair of boxing gloves, 2 sleds, a regiment of the very latest mechanical wonders, enough musical instruments to equip a miniature band, and any number of games. There is everything you can think of and more. The toys are most expensive, and you wonder how many children are to be made happy by them, and then we tell you that they are all for the exclusive use of David Millman, Jr., who is 7 years old, and who would greatly prefer permission to put on rompers, and play on some not too clean floor. But being an only child of a widowed father, and being heir to a string of banks, and at least 1 railroad, and half a dozen mansions in town and country, he is not permitted to do such things. As our play begins, the room is empty, but not for long. A face peers in through the window at the back, the sash is raised slowly and noiselessly, and a 14-year-old boy hoists himself across the sill. He is roughly dressed. His eyes are covered by a black mask with slits in it. Under his arm, with exaggerated care, he carries a gaily decorated box of candy. He looks about stealthily, tiptoeing about the room. Then he turns to the window to hiss to an accomplice, Slim coasts clear. Bill, another boy, masked, and wearing a badly fitting beard and whiskers, climbs into the room. His appearance is one half villainous, one half pathetic. He is thin, and he is suffering from a cold. SHH. Bill, I ain't making no noise, not a W whisper. He upsets a chair. It is loaded with mechanical toys, and falls with a fearful racket. Slim suffering cats. They rush to concealment. There is a dreadful pause. Presently they poke their heads out cautiously. Bill, nobody hoid it? Slim, day must be deep in dis house. He steals to one door and applies his ear to the keyhole. Bill, timid in the presence of so much luxury, moves to the other. Well? Bill, not a sound. Slim, deaf or asleep? Bill, Slim, piped a tree. Slim, ain't it a Boyd? Bill, it's a humdinger. It's a pippin. It's a lulu. He surveys it from top to bottom. T-ink of it, Slim, just T-ink of it, a tree like dat and for one kid. Slim, pretty soft, I'll tell de Wilde. Bill, tainty fair. Tainty. Here we got 8 young UNS at home, and I promised 'em a tree for Christmas, and dey ain't got nuttin', not even a geranium. Gee, wouldn't dey love dis? Slim scornfully. Are you gettin' mushy? Bill with pathetic bravado. Me mushy? I'm hard-boiled. Suddenly. Say, Slim, W at? Bill, I gotta sneeze. Slim, sneeze, and I'll moiter ya. He crosses hastily to Bill, and waves his arms grotesquely in a futile effort to prevent him from sneezing. Now. 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 Bill thunderously. Achoo. Slim hastens to hide, Bill follows. There is another dreadful pause, but nobody comes to disturb them. Presently Bill becomes visible again. Cheerfully. Nobody hoid me. Slim with unlimited sarcasm. Dey t'ought it was just blastin' in de subway. Bill wouldn't be surprised if dey did. Sounded like it? Slim, now keep your eyes open. He crosses stealthily to the tree, and deposits his box of candy at its foot. It is a large box tied up with red ribbon. It is very conspicuous. Dear. Bill, you're sure it ain't gonna hoit the kid, Slim? Slim, leave it to me. Bill hopefully. Maybe he won't eat it? Slim, W at kid won't eat candy? Bill, dis one's a millionaire kid. Slim, he's a kid just the same, ain't he? He'll eat one, maybe two. W at's the diff? One'll do the trick fine and dandy. It won't hoit him none, Bill, how do you know? Slim, knockout drops, that's all dears in 'em. He'll go off to sleep just as nice and easy, Bill. W at good's dat gonna do us? The rest of 'em ain't gonna go to sleep, and dere's a noise, and dere's a guard dat watches him every minute, and dere's Slim interrupting. Dey'll all holler for help, see? Dey'll run for a doctor. Dey'll leave him right here, alone, and dead to de Wilde, and den we lift him outta de winder, witout nobody to stop us. He rubs his hands happily. We'll get a cool million outta his dad before we give him back. Bill eagerly. Do you t'ink he'll pay it? Slim grimly. He'll pay it if he expects to lay eyes on dat kid again. Bill anxiously. Slim, You wouldn't hoit the kid? Slim, I don't know what I'd do. I'm despre. He surveys Bill with scorn. Are you gettin' mushy again? Bill with his same pathetic bravado. Me mushy? I'm hard-boiled. Slim, well, stay dat way. He leads the way toward the window. Stick to me, Bill, and in a week we'll be rollin' in money. $1 million. $1 million. Bill, I don't need dat much. Slim going out at the window. I'll take W at you don't want. Bill following. I gotta sneeze. Slim's arm reaches up, grabs him by the collar, and hauls him out head first. The window closes. Slim outside. Now. 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 There is a monstrous sneeze. There is only an instant's pause this time. Then, from the right, enters Halligan, a brawny middle-aged Irishman, whose business it is to guard the young millionaire. He is followed by Vicky, the nurse. Halligan, I thought I was after hearin' something. Vicky, you're forever hearing things, Mr. Halligan. Halligan, seriously. I'm paid to keep my eyes and ears open. I'm on the job. He looks about the room, goes to the window and looks out. Vicky, impressed by his earnestness. See anybody? Halligan, nary a soul. Vicky, I'm glad of that. With a young millionaire to look out for, it's nerve-wracking, I tell you. You never know what to expect, you never know what might happen. David saunters in at the right. He is a winsome, appealing boy of 7, dressed in a most expensive and most uncomfortable manner. There is an eager look in his face, a look of yearning that has never been gratified. What he wants he cannot have, and what he has means very little indeed to him. Hello, Vicky. Vicky, Master David, you knew you weren't to come in here until 10 o'clock. David, glancing at a wristwatch. It's nearly that now, Vicky. Vicky, exactly 10, your father said, 10 exactly. He's very busy dictating letters in his study, he's brought a lot of work home from the office, but he's going to give you a few minutes. David, without sentimentality. I know what that means, a few minutes. Vicky, you're not to look at the Christmas tree until he comes. David, all right, I won't look. He turns his back squarely on the tree. I'll watch the door, and wait. He faces the left-hand door. Vicky, sotto voce, to Halligan. Did you ever see such a child? You'd think he couldn't help looking. Halligan, he doesn't care about the tree. Vicky, snapping her fingers. Not that much. Halligan, he doesn't want to see his presents. Vicky, why should he when he has everything in the world? Halligan, it's his father he's after wantin', I think. Just that. Vicky, shh. A clock strikes 10. David glances nervously at his watch. Halligan stiffens to attention. Vicky stands erect, expectantly. The door at the left opens, and Millman, a fine-looking man in his 40s, enters briskly, snapping shut his watch as he crosses the threshold. He is all alertness and no waste motion, his time is precious, he never forgets that. Millman, Merry Christmas, Davy. David, whose lips are trembling, and whose eyes never leave his father. Merry Christmas, Daddy. Millman, turning to the others, and handing each an envelope. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Halligan, thank you, sir, and the same to you. Vicky, Merry Christmas and thank you. Millman, tut tut. He turns briskly toward the tree. Well, Davy, and how do you like your tree? David, not glancing at it. Very much, Daddy. Millman, it was nice of Santa to bring you so many presents. David, very nice, Daddy. Millman, examining the cards attached to the gifts. And here are more presents from your little friends and your Uncle Joe and your Uncle Eldridge and your Uncle Twombly. David: yes, Daddy. Millman examining an envelope. Here's an envelope from your Aunt Mary and look what's in it. He draws out a yellow-backed bill. David: you take care of it for me, Daddy. Millman putting the envelope in his pocket. Here's an electric train from Santa. Switches, and stations, and coal cars. I declare, it's a wonderful train. Isn't it, Halligan? Halligan: it is that, sir. Millman: you ought to be a very happy boy, Davy. David: yes, Daddy. Millman glancing at his watch again. I must go now. You don't mind, do you, Davy? Important cablegrams. Letters. David: I understand, Daddy. Millman already in the doorway. By the way, there's a present from me downstairs, a new limousine. Later on you'll go riding in it. David rushing to him with pathetic eagerness. Will you come too, Daddy? Millman: sorry, Davy, haven't time. He pats the boy's head and nods pleasantly to the others. Good morning. The door closes behind him, and David, as if struck by a blow, withdraws again into his shell. Vicky: a fine gentleman, Mr. Millman. Halligan: that he is. Vicky: did you see the check he gave me? Shows it. Halligan: just take a look at this one. Vicky fervently. The salt of the earth. Halligan: a fine gentleman. David, who has been motionless, now turns to Halligan, in joyous assent. A fine gentleman, isn't he, Halligan? Proudly. When my father walks along the street everybody stops to look at him. I can see the people nudging each other, and saying, there goes Mr. Millman. And the newspapers send men here to take his picture, but father's too busy to let them do that. And when I go out I hear everybody say, there goes Millman's boy. And all the policemen touch their caps and talk to me. Halligan: yes, I've seen that many a time. David: and it's all because Daddy's such a fine man. Halligan finding the statement difficult to correct. Yes, I guess that's the reason. He is in distress. Vicky coming to the rescue. Now you may look at the tree, Master David. David suddenly unenthusiastic, barely glancing at the tree. It's very nice. Vicky: is that all you can say about it? David: it's just as nice as the one we had last year, and that was the nicest I ever saw. Vicky taking up the gifts. Boxing gloves. David tentatively, knowing what to expect. May I put them on? Vicky: someday, perhaps not just yet. Sleds. David: may I go coasting on them? Vicky: next year, maybe not now. A trumpet. David: may I blow on it? Vicky: mercy, no. Not until it has been boiled. David: but that'll spoil the paint. Vicky: better to spoil the paint than to ruin your health. David disappointed. Oh, all right. Halligan coming to the rescue in his turn. I have a list of the presents here. He produces a long sheet. 2 railroad trains complete. David not boasting, simply stating facts. I have 4 already. Halligan: 2 phonographs. David: I have 3 and I can't play more than one at once. Halligan: your cousin Willie sent you a set of books. David: and what did I send him? Halligan referring to the list. You sent him a Boy Scout outfit. David: why didn't he keep the books and send me the outfit? Halligan avoiding the question. Your Aunt Genevieve sent you a bicycle. David interested despite himself. Oh, that's nice. He moves toward it. Vicky interposing. You may ride on it when you're older. David: but not now. Vicky with real solicitude. You might hurt yourself, Master David. David crestfallen, turning to Halligan. Don't read me any more, Halligan. Christmas is a complete failure so far as he is concerned. Vicky realizes it, and directs his attention to the gifts. Vicky, look, a tennis racket. David, despite himself. That'll be fun this summer. Halligan, it will that. David, I may play with it? Vicky, all you like. David, good. Watch my overhand. He swings the racket. Vicky, taking it from him. Not in the house, Master David, you'll break something. David, I knew there was a string tied to it. Vicky, indicating. Golf clubs. David, for the summer? Vicky, naturally for the summer. David, nodding. I see, it's winter now. He sees a pair of ice skates, and takes them up. Do these have to wait for the summer, too? Halligan, impressively. You're to go to the rink with them this afternoon. David, that will be nice. Vicky, they're a gift from us, Master David Halligan, from me and her. David, sincerely. Thank you, Vicky. He kisses her. Thanks, Halligan. He shakes hands. You couldn't have given me anything I'd like better. He feels the itch. They're sharp, aren't they? Halligan, I saw to that. Vicky, alarmed. Be careful, Master David. David, smiling. You aren't going to get them away from me. He gives them to Halligan, and turns back to the tree. Look. Halligan, following his glance. Candy. Vicky, horrified. Candy. Who sent it? Halligan, it's not down on the list. Vicky, kneeling to examine it. There's no card. David, I guess it came from Santa Claus. Vicky, reluctantly. Of course you mayn't eat it. David, that's all right, Vicky, I don't mind. Vicky, who has opened the box. There's no card inside, but it looks lovely. David, I mayn't have any, Vicky, eat it yourself. Vicky, do you really want me to? David, of course, Vicky. Vicky, eating and smacking her lips. They're good. Have one, Mr. Halligan? Halligan, I don't mind if I do. He eats a candy. David, watching with interest. What do they taste like? Vicky, chocolate, taking another. Halligan, with strawberry cream inside, taking another. Vicky, this one has a cherry. Halligan, this has a walnut. David, Santa Claus makes good candy, doesn't he? Someday, when I'm older, he'll make some that I can eat. I'd like that. Vicky, another, Mr. Halligan? Halligan, I don't mind if I do. He pauses, and looks toward the door. Now, it isn't up to me to say what I'm thinkin', and nobody knows that better than myself, but it's cruel not to let him have a taste. Vicky, Mr. Halligan. Halligan, who ever heard of candy hidden anybody? Vicky, orders are orders, and they'll be followed. She relents, and, about to put the lid on the box, offers it a last time to Halligan. More. Halligan, swallowing hard and passing his hand over his forehead. No, thanks. Vicky, rising suddenly and tottering. Mr. Halligan, I don't feel well. Please get me some water. Halligan, alarmed, hastening out of the room. Right away. David, what's the matter, Vicky? Vicky, dear. Vicky, it's nothing, Master David. It'll pass away in a minute. She sways, and David steadies her. I feel dizzy, very dizzy all of a sudden. David, sit down, Vicky. Vicky, catching the back of a chair. I can't imagine what's wrong. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Why doesn't Halligan bring the water? Why doesn't he bring it? I'm so dizzy, so dizzy. From the hall at the right there is the sound of a heavy fall, accompanied by the crash of breaking glass. David alarmed. Halligan fell. Vicky reeling toward the door. Mr. Halligan. Mr. Halligan. I'm afraid I'm going to faint. On the threshold a sudden suspicion comes to her, and she pulls herself together with a heroic effort. David. Davy, boy. Don't touch the candy. She collapses on the threshold. David on his knees at her side. Vicky. Vicky, dear. Answer me, Vicky. During the last few seconds the window has been raised, and Slim has come into the room. Slim to Bill, who follows. It walked. Bill the kid didn't eat the candy. Slim the utters did dat suits me. David rising to confront the newcomers. What are you doing here? Slim we come after you. Bill pushing Slim to one side easily. Nuttin' to get excited about, kid, your lady friend's alright see? He leads David back into the room, Slim thrusts the door shut, and locks it. She's just daydreamin' talking a little catnap. It won't hurt her a bit honest. She'll feel fine when she wakes up. David what happened to Halligan? Bill he's daydreamin', too. The two of 'em are daydreamin' they're nice and sociable like see? They redreamin' about the little boydies singin' in the treetops. Ain't dat pretty? Slim has come forward. Bill waves a hand. Meet my friend Slim. David extending a hand. How do you do? Slim shaking hands. Pleased to meet ya. Bill Slim and me we're gonna look after you for a while. David yes? He looks up at Bill with sudden recognition. You don't have to tell me who you are. Bill worried. I don't? David I've seen you before. Bill you know my name? David of course. Who doesn't? He pauses while Bill plainly shows his anxiety. Why, you're Santa Claus. Slim overcome and relieved. W at? W at did you say? David laughing. You're Santa Claus, and you know you are. Slim ha. Ha. He breaks into guffaws. Bill poking Slim violently in the midriff with his elbow. You guessed it right the very first time, kid. John W. Santa that's me. He tidies his impossible beard and whiskers. David I knew you right off. Bill you sure did. David intensely interested, catching his hand. Did you have a cold trip coming here? Bill W. at's dad. David wasn't it cold, coming all the way from the North Pole? Bill well, it wasn't so bad after we got to 125th Street. David fascinated. No. Bill den to goin' was pretty good. David but before you got there? Bill it was a wee bit chilly. Slim it was 60 below. David 60 below what? Bill not below nuttin'. Just below see? He gesticulates vividly, placing his hand parallel to the floor at the level of his ankles. Dat was where I caught cold. I gotta sneeze. Slim now. 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 David oh, let him sneeze. Bill sneezes. God bless you. Bill much obliged. David that's all right. I always say God bless you when anybody sneezes. Slim returning to the main topic. We're gonna take care of you me and Bill. Bill we're gonna take you for a long ride. David are we going to the North Pole? Bill Foyter den dad approaching him. But you gotta keep quiet. David with a nod of comprehension. I know, you don't want to frighten the reindeer. Slim alarmed. DWH. David Blixen and Vixen Bill W at. David and Prancer and Dancer Slim decidedly worried, to Bill. Did you see any of dem guys when you come in? Bill maybe they was undercover. To David. Say, kid, where do they keep? David puzzled. Keep. Bill where do they hang out? Where do they park? Where's their stamping ground? David oh, outside. Bill to Slim. I told you the house was watched. David quoting some book. Drawing Santa Claus from his home in the north, reindeer, swifter than the wind, swift as light. Slim beginning to understand. Hey. I get him now? He's talkin' about a no kind of flivver. David swifter even than dreams, sturdy and strong, champing at their bits, sparks coming from their nostrils. Bill nodding. The kids got the right dope, Slim. To David. They re-waitin' for us outside, balloon tires, and 4 wheel brakes, and sparks just where you said. Come on. David going toward the window. They're in a big hurry, aren't they? They know we're coming, Santa Claus. They can't wait for us. I hear them shaking their sleigh bells. Sleigh bells are audible. Bill much alarmed. Do you hear Dad, Slim? David with glee. Sleigh bells. Slim shh. They hide in corners of the room. David cannot understand their actions, he looks about, puzzled. Then a 10-year-old girl, wearing a harness covered with sleigh bells, appears at the window. Bessie softly. Bill. More loudly. Bill. Bill. She spies David. Is he here? David nods silently, and indicates with his thumb where Bill is hiding. Bessie climbs into the room, bells jangling. Bill, we found ya. Climbing through the window come 7 more children, in decreasing sizes. The smaller ones are helped by the larger, and the smallest, which is but an infant, is carried by one of the others. A babble of talk. Hey, give us a hand, Pete. Look out. You'll fall. Mind the baby. Gimme a good push. Hey, you, Woodrow, quit your crowdin'. Up you go. Now that they are all in the room, we may pause to inspect them. They are all badly dressed. Their clothes are torn and shabby, their stockings are full of holes, and they average about 3/4 of a glove to every hand. But they are all extraordinarily happy, and not at all shy about showing it. And being Bill's younger brothers and sisters, they are as tough as the proverbial nails. Bill emerging from his concealment, looking decidedly sheepish. How did yous get here? Bessie, we seen you go, and we run after ya. Bill, all of yous? Bessie nodding. Maggie carried the baby. Maggie see brother's funny face, baby. Slim coming out, and speaking with boundless contempt. That's the last time I tackle a job along wid a fambly man. Bessie, Bill, you promised us a Christmas tree. Pete and we knowed you'd get us one. Annie, you said you was gonna get one, didn't ya, Bill? Maggie, so we followed you all the way. Pete, you couldn't lose us, Bill. Annie, not on your life. Pete, we wanted that tree. Theodore, a grand climax. And here it is. There is a chorus of delighted screams as the children surround the tree. Bessie, Bill, what a peach of a tree. Pete, some tree. Annie, look at the presents. Theodore, golly, look at the presents. Maggie, see the beautiful tree, baby. She makes the baby clap its hands. David puzzled, as the children, shrilling their delight, descend upon the gifts. Say, Santa Claus, I didn't know you had a family. Slim with infinite disgust. Kid, you said a mouthful. David, are they all related to you? Bill not too modestly. Me 8 brothers and sisters count M. Bessie and Pete they re twins. And Maggie that's her Holden da baby and Theodore and Annie and Grover and Woodrow and Calvin that's da baby. David, do they all come from the North Pole? Bessie with injured American pride. W at do you Inc? We're a lot of Polanders. Bill de Noordpool. De Noordpool's warm next to W where they come from. My pa ain't wa eken, and de landlord toeing off de heat W and I didn't pay de rent. David, rent? What's rent? Slim as Bill gazes appealingly at him. Ya started dis. Ya tell him. Bill, rent? Rent's something you pay W and you get money. David, and when you don't get it? Bill, you don't. Slim becoming impatient. Say, what I wanna know is dis a kidnapping party, or is dis a kid party? David, what's a kidnapping party, Santa Claus? Bill, I'll show ya. He calls to the children. Hey, fellers, we're gonna beat it? Pete, nah. Bessie, we don't wanna go, Bill. Annie, we wanna play with the presents. Theodore, look at the sleds. Pete, and the boxing gloves. Annie, and the railroad trains. Bessie, and the trumpets. Maggie, see the pretty flowers, baby. Pete, parceling out the musical instruments. You take this and you take this and when I say ready, you all blow to onct. Slim anxiously. Nuttin' doin'. Pete, ready. The din is terrific. David indicating the instruments with some anxiety, and pulling Bill's sleeve. Santa Claus, they haven't been boiled. Slim, W at? David, they haven't been boiled, Mr. Slim. Slim, and you know he means the children, not the toys. They oughta be. Pete, all ready? Go. The uproar is repeated. Slim to Bill. And I told you not to make a sound. Bill say, kid, there ain't nobody else on this floor, is there? David, no, nobody but us. Bill drawing a sigh of relief. That's good. Now, fellers, we're gonna go. Slim interrupting. And we're gonna take him, he indicates David, along with us. Bessie, W at's to hurry, Bill. Pete, we don't wanna go. Theodore, not now. Bessie, Bill, there's no place for us to go to. Bill, W at do you mean? Pete, the landlord, he come along while we was leavin', and he says we needn't come back, none of us never. Bessie rather pleased with her news. He says he'll put the furniture on the sidewalk, and you can get it whenever you like. Pete, the sooner the better, he says. Bessie, yeah, and that wasn't all he says. Bill aghast. He trun ya out the moment my back was toined. Bessie, you bet he did. Bill, he trun ya out. He trun ya out. Bessie, that's at I'm tellin' ya. Bill, and what did Pa say? Bessie, Pa says if you can't support him in better style den dad, he's gonna quit ya cold. Bill, at do ya think of dad, Slim? Ain't it the limit? Ain't that the absolute limit? David seizing Bill's hand. What's the matter, Santa Claus? Bill angrily. Ah, nuttin'. David, why don't you tell me, Santa Claus? Bill bitterly. Dere's nuttin' de matter, onny de kids ain't gonna have a roof over deir heads tonight. David, because you didn't get money. Bill, that's why. David, and because you didn't pay the rent. Bill, you said it, kid. David, but why do you want a roof over their heads? Can't we take them along with us? Bill W. At's dad. David, they can come to the North Pole too, can't they? Of course it will be a little crowded in the sleigh, but there'll be room for all of us if we sit close. And we'll have lots of fun. Slim meaningly. Do you hear, Dad? Bill. David eagerly. The reindeer are waiting outside. Slim around a corner. David, Dancer and Prancer and Blixen and Vixen. Bill interrupting. The reindeer's name is Lizzie and her radiators froze. Slim crossing to him earnestly. But it's gonna get us away from here, Bill. We get out of the city, we go somewheres in the Bronx, and then we give Millman a ring on the telephone. David, don't telephone Daddy, he's always busy. Slim, he won't be busy this time. He argues with Bill. David, you don't know my daddy. My daddy is the busiest man in the world. When he comes to see me, he says, exactly 10, and that means exactly 10. When I want to see him, I have to ask his secretary, and sometimes he can't see me at all. Bessie, do you like Dad? David, I don't like it, but I guess Daddy has to work. Bessie, your daddy walk? W at fur? David, I guess he wants his money so that he can pay his rent. Bessie snickers. David bridles indignantly. Don't make fun of him. I won't let anybody do that. I don't think anybody works as hard as he works. Why, he starts in the morning before I get up, and sometimes when I wake in the middle of the night, I tiptoe to the door of my room, and I can see the light burning in his study downstairs. Daddy works hard and he looks so tired. He's so tired sometimes that he won't let me sit in his lap. Bessie, my daddy lets me sit in his lap all I like. David eagerly. Does everybody call him a fine man? Bessie a bit dubiously. Day calls him all sorts of teachings, but he don't mind dat. David, do the policeman stop and speak to him? Bessie, not if he sees dem foist. David, do they send men to his house to take his picture? Bessie with pardonable pride. They don't have ter, they got his picture at headquarters. Bill, who has been arguing with Slim in undertones during the preceding dialogue, now turns abruptly. Come on, fellers. We're gonna go. Slim takes David's hand. A chorus, not, Bill. We wanna play with the presents. We don't wanna leave the presents. We want the presents. Bill angrily. Come on, I say. Maggie appealingly. Baby don't wanna leave the presents. David, Santa Claus, let them take the presents with them. As Slim releases him in astonishment, he runs to the children. Here, you take this, and here's something for you, and you take one of the railroad trains, don't forget the tracks, and you take the other one. Bill dumbfounded. You're giving away your toys? David busy distributing gifts. They want them more than I do. He turns again to the children. Here, you can carry more than that. Annie's arms are full already, but he piles toys on the heap. Put these on top. Take them along. To Pete. Do they let you ride a bicycle? Pete sure teeing. David, then take this one. To Bessie. Do they let you go coasting on a sled? Bessie, all I want if I got a sled. David, here's one for you. To Theodore, holding up a pair of boxing gloves. Can you use them? Theodore, can a duck swim? David, take them. Pete to Bill. Hey, Bill, can I have the tennis racket? Bill to David. How about it? David, and you see it hurts, and besides Pete's arms are full. He wants it more than I do. Maggie with a cry of delight. Gee, look W at I found. Ice skates. See the ice skates, baby. David, ice skates. He pauses, takes them in his hand, caresses them. This time it hurts very much indeed. Bill almost savagely. What are you gonna do, kid? David smiling at Bill. I'm going to give them to her. He places them in Maggie's hands. Take good care of them and look out for the baby, they're sharp. He turns to Bill. And now, Santa Claus, what's a kidnapping party? Bill, you wanna know, Dad? David, yes, Santa Claus. Bill, you really wanna know? David takes his hand and nods eagerly. Bill hesitates. Then he glares defiantly at Slim, and turns to David. Kid, you ain't never gonna loin Dad from me. Slim with hostility. What did you say? David apologetically. I didn't mean to forget your present, Mr. Slim. He runs to the tree and fetches the candy. Here you are. And Merry Christmas. He gives Slim the box. Slim to candy. That's my day of one fine present. David, and now, Santa Claus? Bill shaking his head. Kid, it's gonna cost me a lot of coin and what wouldn't I do with just a couple of dollars, but use a little Jen Lehman see, and if anybody lays a finger on ya, I'll moiter him. He casts a defiant glance at Slim, and claps his arm upon David's shoulders in a rough accolade. Kid, you's a good sport, he bows grotesquely. And I take me hat off to ya. Yours truly, John W. Santa. Slim gasping. You's gonna leave him here? Bill, you hoid me. Slim, but we come here to Bill interrupting. I changed my mind, see? A guy that's a he-man can do dat little teeing, and John W. Santa's a he-man. He indicates David. I'm gonna leave him here, and me and the kids is gonna beat it, and yous is comin' along, too, don't you forget dat. Slim, Bill. You said you was hard-boiled. Bill crossing to him menacingly. If you don't believe it, now's the time to try me. He pauses. Well. There is a sudden loud knocking at the locked door at the right. Halligan outside. Let me in. Let me in, or I'll break down the door. Slim, beat it. There is a rush for the windows, but it stops short as the door at the left, which has been ajar for some moments, suddenly opens, and Millman stands on the threshold. Bill rising nobly to the occasion. H.U. David, God bless you. Slim, we're pinched. Millman quietly. Just that. Slim jerking his thumb toward the window. Cops outside. Millman nodding. They saw you come in. They been waiting for you to come out. Annie beginning to cry. I want my presents. Halligan hammering at the door again. Let me in. Millman let him in. Bill crosses to the door and unlocks it. Halligan and Vicky, both wobbly, but on their feet again, come into the room. Vicky, Master David. Master David. They haven't hurt you, have they? She rushes to him. David, Santa Claus wouldn't hurt anybody. He was going to give me a kidnapping party, that was all. He pats Bill's hand. Vicky horrified. Master David. Halligan producing a whistle. Shall I whistle for the police, sir? Millman, wait, Halligan. He turns to the intruders. The house is surrounded. There is no way you can get out. Bill most unhappily. Yes, sir. He takes off his mask. For the first time we see his face, the face of a half-starved lad with big eyes. Millman, bear that in mind. Most unaccountably, most leisurely, he turns his back on Bill, and draws up a chair. Davy, how would you like to sit in my lap? David, I'd love it, Daddy. Millman, so would I. David rushes to him. Millman settles him comfortably, quite oblivious of the others. There. There. David, where were you going with this man? David, not this man, Daddy, it's Santa Claus. Millman, I meant Santa Claus. David, I was just going to the North Pole. Millman, were you going to leave me alone? David, I would have come back tomorrow or the next day, Daddy, if you wanted me. Millman eloquently. If I wanted you. He pauses. Are you sure you would have come back, Davy? David, well, pretty sure. He hesitates. I wouldn't want to bother you if you were busy. Millman wincing. I'm not so busy as you think, Davy. David, no. Millman, no. He pauses. Sometimes, when a man's lonely, when he misses somebody who's gone terribly, terribly much, he tries to make himself busy. Do you understand that, Davy? David, I think I do. You mean Mummy? Millman, I mean Mummy. His voice lightens. But now that my little boy is growing older, I don't expect to be nearly so busy anymore. David ecstatically. Really, Daddy? Millman honest and truly. David turning to Bill. Did you hear that, Santa Claus? Bill shuffles his feet and does not answer. Millman sharply. Did you hear that, Santa Claus? Bill, yes, sir. I heard him. Millman trying to speak lightly. And now, if you still want to go to the North Pole with Santa Claus, you may go. He pauses. Do you want to go? David hesitates, rises, looks at his father, looks at Bill, and then, to his father's unutterable horror, runs to Bill. You won't mind, will you, Santa Claus? Bill is silent. Millman in a tone like that of a whiplash. Answer him. Bill addressing David, and exceedingly gruff. What do you mean, kid? David, you won't mind if I stay here, will you? I don't care so much about that old North Pole. Vicky tremulous with joy. Davy. Davy, boy. Bill a mighty effort. Huo Halligan after a pause. Shall I take them away now, Mr. Millman? Millman, yes, Halligan. Halligan gruffly. Come on, you. He herds them toward the door. David, don't forget the presents. Millman, no, don't forget the presents. The children need no second invitation. They take up the gifts, as many as they can carry, in great haste. But there are more than they can carry unaided. Help them, Halligan. Halligan surprised at the order, but doing as he is told. Yes, sir. And Vicky helps without being told. The children begin to file out at the door. David, who has been watching with an eagle's eye, and halting Bessie, who is next to last. Take the sled. Bessie taking it. Much obliged. David stopping Maggie and the baby. You're forgetting the skates. Millman, don't forget the skates. David gives them to her. Maggie yanks. Come, baby. She goes, followed by Vicky. Halligan, burdened with gifts, stands in the doorway, and crooks his finger at Bill and Slim. Come on. David, you're forgetting your candy, Mr. Slim. Slim refusing to take it. I never seen Dad box before in all my life. He goes quickly. Bill after a brief hesitation. Give it here, kid. David gives him the box. Bill turns apologetically to Millman. Tain't he safe to leave Dad's stuff around? Millman gravely. Why not? Bill hesitates again, then he squares his shoulders. De candy's loaded with knockout drops. There is a sharp intake of breath from Halligan, but his employer is not surprised. Millman quietly. I guessed as much. He halts Bill as the latter turns to go. You came here intending to kidnap my boy? Bill reluctantly. Yes, sir. Millman, you could have done it? Bill, yes, sir. Millman, why didn't you do it? Bill hesitates. Out with it? Bill raising his head, and looking Millman in the eye. He was nice to the kids, see? He give 'em all his presents. He didn't hold out none for himself. He's the first guy that ever treated 'em like they was human. I'd lay down me life for him after he done dat. He pauses, and continues hesitantly. You see, Pa don't walk reg'lar, and Ma's sick, and ever since I been old enough to go out on the street and sell papers, I been keepin' the kids alive and there's 8 of 'em now. Once more he raises his head. He treated 'em square, see, and I done the same by him. Millman after a pause. You know where my office is? Bill puzzled. Yes, sir. Millman, come and see me tomorrow. He turns. Halligan. Halligan, yes, sir. Millman, this gentleman will leave my house as a gentleman ought to leave it. You will show him to the door. You will send for my car. You will tell my chauffeur to drive him home. And you will see to it that the police do not molest him. Bill incredulous. Mr. Millman. Halligan protesting. Mr. Millman. Millman once more the whiplash. Halligan. Do as I say. Halligan crushed. Yes, sir. I am to send this man home. Millman correcting him. This gentleman. Halligan, this gentleman and his friend? Millman nods. And the children? Millman, of course the children. Halligan, very good, sir. David halting them. Daddy, Santa Claus has no home to go to. Millman smiling. I forgot. He produces an envelope from his pocket. I listened at the door for 10 minutes before I came in. I heard every word that was spoken. He claps Bill heartily on the shoulder, and extends his hand, and in it is the same envelope that hung on the tree. Merry Christmas, my friend. Bill wiping his hand on his trousers leg before taking Millman's, and painfully embarrassed. The same to use, Mr. Millman, and the same, and lots of 'em, to the little gentleman. David thanks, Santa Claus. Bill goes, followed by Halligan. The door clicks shut after them. For a second father and son gaze at each other in silence. Then Millman, I gave him your Aunt Mary's envelope. David, I know you did, Daddy. The two gaze at each other, wishing to say much, but unable to break through their masculine reserve. Millman inspects the stripped tree with elaborate care. David does likewise. Millman turns toward his son, distant 10 feet, gazes at him, folds his arms. David observes the gesture, deliberately mimics it to the life. Millman, well, son. David, well, Daddy. Millman unfolds his arms, and hooks his thumbs into his trouser pockets. Again David observes and copies the pose. Millman, Christmas is over, Davy. From downstairs comes a joyful din, the blare of toy trumpets, the jingling of Bessie's sleigh bells, the shouting and the laughter of children. Millman turns his head to listen, opens the door to hear better. David goes to his side, takes his hand, and listens with him. David, Christmas has just begun. The joyful din grows louder. The curtain falls. End of the Project Gutenberg ebook Alias Santa Claus. Updated editions will replace the previous one. The old editions will be renamed. Creating the works from print editions not protected by U.S. copyright law means that no one owns a United States copyright in these works, so the foundation, and you, can copy and distribute it in the United States without permission and without paying copyright royalties. Special rules, set forth in the general terms of use part of this license, apply to copying and distributing Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark concept and trademark. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark, and may not be used if you charge for an ebook, except by following the terms of the trademark license, including paying royalties for use of the Project Gutenberg trademark. If you do not charge anything for copies of this ebook, complying with the trademark license is very easy. You may use this ebook for nearly any purpose such as creation of derivative works, reports, performances, and research. Project Gutenberg ebooks may be modified and printed and given away. You may do practically anything in the United States with ebooks not protected by U.S. copyright law. Redistribution is subject to the trademark license, especially commercial redistribution. Start, full license. The full Project Gutenberg license. Please read this before you distribute or use this work to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark mission of promoting the free distribution of electronic works, by using or distributing this work, or any other work associated in any way with the phrase Project Gutenberg. You agree to comply with all the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark license available with this file or online at www.gutenberg.org/license. Section 1. General Terms of Use and Redistributing Project Gutenberg Trademark Electronic Works 1.a. By reading or using any part of this Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work, you indicate that you have read, understand, agree to and accept all the terms of this license and intellectual property, trademark/copyright, agreement. If you do not agree to abide by all the terms of this agreement, you must cease using and return or destroy all copies of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works in your possession. If you paid a fee for obtaining a copy of or access to a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work and you do not agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement, you may obtain a refund from the person or entity to whom you paid the fee as set forth in paragraph 1.e.8. 1.b. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark. It may only be used on or associated in any way with an electronic work by people who agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement. There are a few things that you can do with most Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works even without complying with the full terms of this agreement. See paragraph 1.c below. There are a lot of things you can do with Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works if you follow the terms of this agreement and help preserve free future access to Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. See paragraph 1.e below. 1.c. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the Foundation or PGLOF, owns a compilation copyright in the collection of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. Nearly all the individual works in the collection are in the public domain in the United States. If an individual work is unprotected by copyright law in the United States and you are located in the United States, we do not claim a right to prevent you from copying, distributing, performing, displaying, or creating derivative works based on the work as long as all references to Project Gutenberg are removed. Of course, we hope that you will support the Project Gutenberg trademark mission of promoting free access to electronic works by freely sharing Project Gutenberg trademark works in compliance with the terms of this agreement for keeping the Project Gutenberg trademark name associated with the work. You can easily comply with the terms of this agreement by keeping this work in the same format with its attached full Project Gutenberg trademark license when you share it without charge with others. 1.d. The copyright laws of the place where you are located also govern what you can do with this work. Copyright laws in most countries are in a constant state of change. If you are outside the United States, check the laws of your country in addition to the terms of this agreement before downloading, copying, displaying, performing, distributing or creating derivative works based on this work or any other Project Gutenberg trademark work. The Foundation makes no representations concerning the copyright status of any work in any country other than the United States. 1.e Unless you have removed all references to Project Gutenberg, 1.e.1. The following sentence, with active links to, or other immediate access to, the full Project Gutenberg trademark license must appear prominently whenever any copy of a Project Gutenberg trademark work, any work on which the phrase Project Gutenberg appears, or with which the phrase Project Gutenberg is associated, is accessed, displayed, performed, viewed, copied or distributed. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. 1.e.2. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work is derived from texts not protected by U.S. copyright law, does not contain a notice indicating that it is posted with permission of the copyright holder, the work can be copied and distributed to anyone in the United States without paying any fees or charges. If you are redistributing or providing access to a work with the phrase Project Gutenberg associated with or appearing on the work, you must comply either with the requirements of paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 or obtain permission for the use of the work and the Project Gutenberg trademark as set forth in paragraphs 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.3. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work is posted with the permission of the copyright holder, your use and distribution must comply with both paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 and any additional terms imposed by the copyright holder. Additional terms will be linked to the Project Gutenberg trademark license for all works posted with the permission of the copyright holder found at the beginning of this work. 1.e.4. Do not unlink or detach or remove the full Project Gutenberg trademark license terms from this work, or any files containing a part of this work or any other work associated with Project Gutenberg trademark. 1.e.5. Do not copy, display, perform, distribute or redistribute this electronic work, or any part of this electronic work, without prominently displaying the sentence set forth in paragraph 1.e.1 with active links or immediate access to the full terms of the Project Gutenberg trademark license. 1.e.6. You may convert to and distribute this work in any binary, compressed, marked up, non-proprietary or proprietary form, including any word processing or hypertext form. However, if you provide access to or distribute copies of a Project Gutenberg trademark work in a format other than plain vanilla ASCII or other format used in the official version posted on the official Project Gutenberg trademark website, www.gutenberg.org, you must, at no additional cost, fee, or expense to the user, provide a copy, a means of exporting a copy, or a means of obtaining a copy upon request, of the work in its original plain vanilla ASCII or other form. Any alternate format must include the full Project Gutenberg trademark license as specified in paragraph 1.e.1. 1.e.7. Do not charge a fee for access to, viewing, displaying, performing, copying or distributing any Project Gutenberg trademark works unless you comply with paragraph 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.8. You may charge a reasonable fee for copies of or providing access to or distributing Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works provided that, You pay a royalty fee of 20% of the gross profits you derive from the use of Project Gutenberg trademark works calculated using the method you already use to calculate your applicable taxes. The fee is owed to the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark, but he has agreed to donate royalties under this paragraph to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Royalty payments must be paid within 60 days following each date on which you prepare, or are legally required to prepare, your periodic tax returns. Royalty payments should be clearly marked as such and sent to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation at the address specified in Section 4, Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. You provide a full refund of any money paid by a user who notifies you in writing, or by email, within 30 days of receipt that he does not agree to the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark license. You must require such a user to return or destroy all copies of the works possessed in a physical medium and discontinue all use of and all access to other copies of Project Gutenberg trademark works. You provide, in accordance with paragraph 1.f.3, a full refund of any money paid for a work or a replacement copy, if a defect in the electronic work is discovered and reported to you within 90 days of receipt of the work. You comply with all other terms of this agreement for free distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark works. 1.e.9. If you wish to charge a fee or distribute a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work or group of works on different terms than are set forth in this agreement, you must obtain permission in writing from the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the manager of the Project Gutenberg trademark. Contact the Foundation as set forth in Section 3 below. 1.f1.f.1. Project Gutenberg volunteers and employees expend considerable effort to identify, do copyright research on, transcribe and proofread works not protected by U.S. copyright law in creating the Project Gutenberg trademark collection. Despite these efforts, Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works, and the medium on which they may be stored, may contain defects, such as, but not limited to, incomplete, inaccurate or corrupt data, transcription errors, a copyright or other intellectual property infringement, a defective or damaged disk or other medium, a computer virus, or computer codes that damage or cannot be read by your equipment. 1.f.2. Limited warranty, disclaimer of damages, except for the right of replacement or refund described in paragraph 1.f.3. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark, and any other party distributing a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work under this agreement, disclaim all liability to you for damages, costs, and expenses, including legal fees. You agree that you have no remedies for negligence, strict liability, breach of warranty or breach of contract except those provided in paragraph 1.f.3. You agree that the Foundation, the trademark owner, and any distributor under this agreement will not be liable to you for actual, direct, indirect, consequential, punitive, or incidental damages even if you give notice of the possibility of such damage. 1.f.3. Limited right of replacement or refund. If you discover a defect in this electronic work within 90 days of receiving it, you can receive a refund of the money, if any, you paid for it by sending a written explanation to the person you received the work from. If you received the work on a physical medium, you must return the medium with your written explanation. The person or entity that provided you with the defective work may elect to provide a replacement copy in lieu of a refund. If you received the work electronically, the person or entity providing it to you may choose to give you a second opportunity to receive the work electronically in lieu of a refund. If the second copy is also defective, you may demand a refund in writing without further opportunities to fix the problem. 1.f.4. except for the limited right of replacement or refund set forth in paragraph 1.f.3, this work is provided to you as is, with no other warranties of any kind, express or implied, including but not limited to warranties of merchantability or fitness for any purpose. 1.f.5. Some states do not allow disclaimers of certain implied warranties or the exclusion or limitation of certain types of damages. If any disclaimer or limitation set forth in this agreement violates the law of the state applicable to this agreement, the agreement shall be interpreted to make the maximum disclaimer or limitation permitted by the applicable state law. The invalidity or unenforceability of any provision of this agreement shall not void the remaining provisions. 1.f.6. Indemnity. You agree to indemnify and hold the foundation, the trademark owner, any agent or employee of the foundation, anyone providing copies of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works in accordance with this agreement, and any volunteers associated with the production, promotion, and distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works, harmless from all liability, costs, and expenses, including legal fees, that arise directly or indirectly from any of the following which you do or cause to occur. A. Distribution of this or any Project Gutenberg trademark work. B. Alteration, modification, or additions or deletions to any Project Gutenberg trademark work, and C. Any defect you cause. Section 2. Information about the mission of Project Gutenberg trademark. Project Gutenberg trademark is synonymous with the free distribution of electronic works in formats readable by the widest variety of computers, including obsolete, old, middle-aged, and new computers. It exists because of the efforts of hundreds of volunteers and donations from people in all walks of life. Volunteers and financial support to provide volunteers with the assistance they need are critical to reaching Project Gutenberg trademark's goals and ensuring that the Project Gutenberg trademark collection will remain freely available for generations to come. In 2001, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation was created to provide a secure and permanent future for Project Gutenberg trademark and future generations. To learn more about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation and how your efforts and donations can help, see sections 3 and 4 and the Foundation information page at www.gutenberg.org. Section 3. Information about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation is a non-profit 501(c)(3) educational corporation organized under the laws of the state of Mississippi and granted tax-exempt status by the Internal Revenue Service. The Foundation's IN or Federal Tax Identification Number is 64-6221541. Contributions to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation are tax-deductible to the full extent permitted by U.S. federal laws and your state's laws. The Foundation's business office is located at 809 North 1500 West, Salt Lake City, Utah 841-16801-596-1887. Email contact links and up-to-date contact information can be found at the Foundation's website and official page at www.gutenberg.org/contact. Section 4. Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Project Gutenberg trademark depends upon and cannot survive without widespread public support and donations to carry out its mission of increasing the number of public domain and licensed works that can be freely distributed in machine-readable form, accessible by the widest array of equipment including outdated equipment. Many small donations, $1 to $5,000, are particularly important to maintaining tax-exempt status with the IRS. The Foundation is committed to complying with the laws regulating charities and charitable donations in all 50 states of the United States. Compliance requirements are not uniform and it takes a considerable effort, much paperwork, and many fees to meet and keep up with these requirements. We do not solicit donations in locations where we have not received written confirmation of compliance. To send donations or determine the status of compliance for any particular state, visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. While we cannot and do not solicit contributions from states where we have not met the solicitation requirements, we know of no prohibition against accepting unsolicited donations from donors in such states who approach us with offers to donate. International donations are gratefully accepted, but we cannot make any statements concerning tax treatment of donations received from outside the United States. U.S. laws alone swamp our small staff. Please check the Project Gutenberg web pages for current donation methods and addresses. Donations are accepted in a number of other ways, including checks, online payments, and credit card donations. To donate, please visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. Section 5. General information about Project Gutenberg Trademark Electronic Works. Professor Michael S. Hart was the originator of the Project Gutenberg trademark concept of a library of electronic works that could be freely shared with anyone. For 40 years, he produced and distributed Project Gutenberg trademark ebooks with only a loose network of volunteer support. Project Gutenberg trademark ebooks are often created from several printed editions, all of which are confirmed as not protected by copyright in the U.S. unless a copyright notice is included. Thus, we do not necessarily keep ebooks in compliance with any particular paper edition. Most people start at our website, which has the main PG search facility, www.gutenberg.org. This website includes information about Project Gutenberg trademark, including how to make donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, how to help produce our new ebooks, and how to subscribe to our email newsletter to hear about new ebooks. Alias Santa Claus characters. The full Project Gutenberg license: PG1, PG2, PG3, PG4, PG5, PG6, PG7, PG8, PG9, PG10, PG11, PG12, PG13, PG14, PG15, PG16, PG17, PG18, PG19, PG20, PG21, PG22, PG23, PG24, PG25, PG26, PG27, PG28, PG29, PG30, PG31, PG32, PG33, PG34, PG35, PG36, PG37, PG38, PG39, PG40, PG41, PG42, PG43, PG44, PG45, PG46, PG47, PG48, PG49, PG50, PG51, PG52, PG53, PG54, PG55, PG56, PG57, PG58.